So hey there, thanks very much for checking out my videos here online. I do greatly appreciate it. I do predominantly videos on Turo, automotive related items, as well as far as reviews or talking about tools, a few other little things. Mostly on live, so if you want to check out my other little content pieces, please by all means, I'd appreciate it. Also, if you could subscribe, that'd be wonderful too, kind of a PBS moment. The faster I can get to that 500 subscribers or that 1,000 subscribers, the better I can actually start justifying purchasing better equipment. Right now we're using an old Google Pixel 3 XL phone. So again, it works really well. But again, if I do end up seeing more interest in these videos, I'll end up putting a little more money and time into them as far as that's concerned. So today what we're doing is we're essentially going through my government purchased pickup truck, and we're taking care of the rocker panels. Essentially what we've done is we've made ourselves some slip-on pieces. So we've made a cardboard template. So essentially this is the door sill and this is the back cab corner, and we've just laid that up and we've trimmed it out accordingly to be able to fit, and we've made the lines as close as possible to be able to bend the metalwork to be able to fit onto the actual framework pretty comfortably. Now I'm using standard stovepipe, which I picked up off of another guy off YouTube. I'll leave a link down below, who seemed to have a really good idea with that. But I went one step further and I went ahead and I did the inside of the panel. So essentially I've gone and trimmed out little sections of tin, and I've taken Gorilla Glue, which is this stuff right here, which is typically used for just about anything. So it's not described for automotive body work, but I looked at it from the standpoint of it's just like a seam sealer, and it's like a plastic bonding agent, and it works a lot like welding something, but without having the gear for a welder or worrying about setting the truck on fire. So in other words, it's a nice little intermediate item, and I'm not doing anything structural with this. This is that outer cover on the rocker panel. So in other words, behind it is the structure. But this is just to kind of get rid of the gaping holes so it will pass a safety inspection. So I would go ahead, trim a section out that would fit kind of behind the panel by working it through the hole, and then I would bond it to the actual vehicle using that Gorilla Glue, and then I'm making a template or an outer panel at a stovepipe that I can bend into position, and now I've got a layer here behind the panel, a layer in front of the panel that basically creates a nice finished piece, and they're bonded together along with the panel that was originally there. I've treated the original panel with a rust converter, and I've scraped away as best as I could and trimmed all the bits and pieces to make it into a rather larger hole, but again, a workable surface. When we were looking at doing the rust converter, I hit it with a power washer as well 2 or 3 times, loading the coins in the local little car wash, then came back with a wire brush and a few other little items to clean it up, and then I spent a couple days just coating it down with that rust converter, and it did a really nice job of making it nice and solid, and it really shouldn't spread too much over the next 3 to 5 years. If it does, I can either redo this process again, or I can go buy another rocker panel and cut and weld and do a proper job. This is kind of an interim. It's a cheap truck. I'm just trying to get it to go through the safety inspection and get a pass. So I need to take care of those holes. They're not really structural. They're more of a cosmetic item than anything else, but they are part of the safety standards. So again, greatly appreciate you checking out my videos. Again, check out my live sections. I try to do them once a week. If you can subscribe, that'd be great. And I've got about 4 or 5 other videos going through the process, and a link of kind of where a guy has a full shop and a proper studio to edit and put everything together properly. Again, I'm just a guy in his driveway plugging away as best he can. So again, thank you very much for checking out the videos. And again, if you could do a thumbs up or again subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Have a pleasant and enjoyable day.